How can you tell if your mower is going to live up to its name? Well, mow over top of a piece of 1/4 inch steel, and if it darn near cuts clean through the thing, well, I'd say you got yourself a bad boy. Got some maintenance to do tonight on the Badboy ZT Elite. For starters, I knocked this tire off the bead last year. I dropped it into a pretty deep rut going wide open and hasn't held air ever since. I got to fill it every time, so I'm going to put some bead sealer on that. Change the oil. It's got 10 hours on it. I bought this brand new May in 2018. It's a leftover model from 2017. Had half an hour on it when I got it. And I changed the oil at 2 hours. It's got 10 now, so it's due again. I'm going to get the front end raised up and get these blades pulled off, inspect them, sharpen them. I haven't even looked at them since I hit this piece of steel last year. It's not going to fit, is it? Oh crap. Now you're never supposed to impact with the chrome socket, but we're going to do it because, no we're not, it still doesn't fit. Son of a diddly. Well, looks like I'm not going to pull the blades off because looking at them, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that cutting edge. I mean, it's a little rusty, but there's no point to take that off and sharpen it when it's sharp. And also, this thing isn't high enough off the ground to get my impact in here, so I don't want to mess with it if I don't have to. Pull this string out of here and just get the, the grass cleaned off the bottom of the deck, and I think that's all we're going to do down here. So I typically use a paint roller scraper, the thing that's got like the weird hook on this side and a notch on this side. I use one of those things for scraping mower decks usually, or like a putty knife or something. I'm using a wood shim this time because this deck is so nice and new down here. It's got all its paint still. I really don't want to scrape all the paint off. And it's actually working quite well. Got to be a little more aggressive than you do with a metal scraper, but for a shim, I'd say it's doing a fine job. That bolt does not want to come out of there though for some reason. Let's go get a striking device. If you do any amount of small tires, you really got to get one of these things. It's a, what's it called? Pittsburgh mini tire changer. It says it'll do a 4 to 12 inch rim. Obviously you can do it without this thing, but it makes your life so much simpler. Of course that won't drop through the bearing. We're going to have to knock the bearings out of this. Alright, I finally got the sleeve knocked out. This bearing here is nice and quiet. This side growls. I don't know if I damaged it when I dropped this down in that rut. I've got some bearings laying around. I'll see if I got one that happens to be the right size for this or not, but for now we're going to deal with breaking the bead to get our bead sealer down inside of there. There you go, just like that, that simple. If you guys have ever messed with these things, you know how easy that just was. Oh, I got her a little too deep, it's stuck inside now, dang it. Alright, what we're going to do is push down to the bead, and I'm just going to put some bead sealer up and around here to hopefully keep it from leaking. No real science to this stuff, you just goop it in there nice and thick. Let's see here, the sidewall says 28 psi max, so that's what we'll do. And then we're gonna see what we can do about replacing that one bearing that's got a growl to it. We're just gonna stick a long punch through to the other side here, get it on the bearing, and hopefully knock it right out. we go, it's out. And I had this bearing here in stock. They look pretty darn close. The seal on the outside is a little different, but I don't know, close enough for me. I mean, the depth and everything this way seems to be the same. The bore diameter seems to be the same. Yeah, that's gonna be just right. I'm gonna go get a socket or piece of pipe or something to pound this in with. There we go. And as Musty One would say, sometimes it pays to be a hoarder. No, that bearing wasn't the exact replacement, I'm sure, but it got the job done and we didn't have to go get one. And really, we're no worse off. If all we did was kick the can down the road a year, so be it. And like I said before, I don't think that bearing was any fault of Badboy's. I'm sure I did that when I dropped this thing down in that rut, because I kid you not, the rut was probably this deep. And I was going full speed, and you know, for a tire to drop into a rut that's almost as deep as the tire was, that put some serious force on this thing. And the yoke itself is still tight up here. Oh, you can't even see. The yoke itself is still tight up here where it matters. Those bearings are nice and tight. There's no play up there whatsoever. So it is very well built. You know, these stupid bearings down here, they're Chinese bearings. It's only intended to roll. It's not intended to take shock loads being slammed into a rut like that. Alright, so here on your tachometer, you can see we got 10 hours, and it's also got two, I'm going to call them trip tachometers, if you want to just track how long you've been mowing or something. And then you can see, it tells me to change my oil in 9 hours, which we're going to reset that and do it right now. If you hold the button down, it clears it out. Change oil in 20 hours. Okay, and the next one says clean air filter in 9.3. Well, we'll clear that out too. We're going to clean it right now. 10 hours. There you go. Let's see, valves. We're not going to service the valves right now because I don't feel like it. And honestly, it's going to keep breaking in a little bit more as we use it. So we'll let that go for the 15 hours it said there. And then when it's running, you've got a tachometer here too. So this knob here is your deck height, and in theory you should be able to just grab it with one hand and turn it. There's no way in the world I could possibly begin to do that. I've got to get both hands on there, and it's just about everything I can do to feel the thing click like that. So I don't know if this got messed up. You know, like I said, when it was sitting outside, somebody at Tractor Supply messing with it, not knowing what they were doing. But it clearly does not work right. At any rate, this is pretty cool. This is your deck height. Simply push a button. And then that knob you turn, that just sets whatever height it stops at. Here's what I've discovered. I pulled this whole fender console unit off, and this right here, let me move this out of the way. This right here is your electric motor that lifts your deck up and down. So here's your adjustment knob. You follow it down to this little cogged wheel, and that catches on a little piece of metal back here. So as the electric ram here runs in and out and comes back in to lower the deck, that piece of steel hits up on the cog wherever you have it, and that's what holds it. Now, this right here is a detent, and it's adjustable. And I bet you anything, if we loosen this detent up a bit, this knob's going to turn much easier. Alright, so what we're going to do is break loose the jam nut on the outside here. And I bet it won't take much. Just a little bit on this Allen wrench is all we're going to need. Well, that's still pretty snug. Let's do some more, I guess. We can always tighten it back up, huh? Oh, there we go. I can easily do that with one hand now. Snug it up a little more. There we go. It's about perfect. So now we'll hold this Allen wrench and snug the jam nut back up, and it should be good to go. I already got the oil drained out of this thing. I'm gonna pull the filter off now. I love how much access they give you to get to it. You can actually get your hands wrapped around it and break it loose quite easy. The main reason I use that Motorcraft filter is because it's $3, and the one you buy from Badboy or from Kohler, either one, is $8. So for an extra $5 back in my pocket, I'm gonna gladly run a Motorcraft filter on this thing. Now the astute viewer will notice this filter is a Motorcraft filter. I've got a whole nother video I did when I first bought this mower about that. I'll link that in the description or the end credits, one of the two. And that filter I just pulled off was from the first oil change I did, and I've still got the original one from Badboy, so we're going to cut those two filters apart now and compare the construction of them. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around, and that'll be coming out shortly. The 7000 series Kohler engine holds 2 quarts of oil, so 2 quarts or about 2 quarts. I don't remember which. I should stop a little short and check, but I think I'm going to dump this all in and just gamble. And our gambling paid off. It's just over the full line. I know that's not going to show up in the camera, so once we start it up and it has to fill up the oil filter down there, I'm sure it'll be just right, because this filter is a little bit bigger than the one that came from the factory anyway. Very important you wipe off the decals and make it look like you did something. Something I think is interesting, these 2 holes here are for the factory ROPS, which clearly I don't have. Obviously for legal reasons we're not going to build a roll bar on YouTube, so it will be a light bar. It will go right here, up over top of your head and down on this side. And if I would like to, I could mount a light up here. If I don't want to, I guess I don't have to. But that's coming, so stay tuned for that. Alright, I think we're going to call it a night right here. It's 11 o'clock, so I can't take it outside and try it out, but it's all ready to go for another season of mowing. Thanks for coming along and watching, guys. Please stay tuned, comment, rate, subscribe. If you want to see more on this, stick around, and I got some more videos planned for it.